Hi guys, welcome to the show. Subscribe to Sister Wives Underground and like this episode. Robyn and Cody had just purchased a new home, but when they put their previous Flagstaff residence on the market in August 2024, folks fast realized that something was strange about their interior design. Images of their Zillow listing began circulating online, depicting several of the strangest decorative pieces found within the residence. Despite the property and land being gorgeous, there was one painting that caught my eye, a huge drawing of two horses smirching in the moonlight. The majority didn't think this was so elegant, and a few even wondered the painting depicted Robyn and Cody's relationship in some weird, literal sense. That was only the start. Everywhere else in the house there were odd pairings of colours, themes and textures that just didn't quite match. Possibly the most panned space was the master bedroom and its adjoining bathroom. The bedroom included velvet drapes, lavender bedding and medieval furniture-inspired decor. Redditors have dubbed it the Purple Princess bedroom. Interior design is all about personal taste, but everyone agreed that the space was overpowering and clashing. The bathroom carried the theme of disarray further. Motivational sayings and Bible verses were scrawled in red marker on the mirror itself, creating the place an oddly charged feeling. A rock sink sat amidst it, looking as if it was something from the Flintstones, utterly out of context in a contemporary house. Compounding the cluttered look, the bathroom had huge decorative geodes and crystals. Combined with the already confusing bedroom style, the overall impression was chaotic and jarring. It seemed as if every decorating whim the couple had encountered on the internet was stuffed into one room. What shocked fans the most was the amount of money spent on these decisions. Based on one Reddit user's breakdown of the house pictures, the total cost of artwork alone was estimated at about $150,000. That doesn't even touch all the sculptures and wall details littered around the property. Throughout the entire house, Cody's lack of consideration for the rest of his family members becomes even more apparent, contributing to the aggravation many viewers feel. When the Browns originally moved to Flagstaff, Mary Brown operated a bed and breakfast, that Cody would not assist her financially. In the meantime, Janelle Brown found herself residing in an RV, and Christine Brown had to take court action against Cody in September 2024, seeking child support. It did not matter though, because Cody was still spending his money on costly decorative items for his and Robyn's house, many of which didn't even have somewhere to be placed. A few have speculated that Cody's spending might have had a hidden agenda. The haphazard manner in which these decorations were placed around the house caused his fans to think he might have been attempting to conceal finances from his ex-wives through these acquisitions. That would account for the thousands of dollars worth of odd, flashy artwork and prints pushed into the house shared with Robyn. Meanwhile, Robyn has recently said she's still willing to do polygamy if Cody is willing. And now Cody is finally speaking publicly about getting married a second time. When Sister Wives debuted on TLC in 2010, the Browns sought to bring polygamy into the mainstream and make it acceptable. Originally, Cody had 3 wives before getting married to Robyn, his 4th legally. But after years of bad behavior and neglect, Cody has only one wife remaining, Robyn. Numerous fans have wondered if Cody would ever attempt to revive his polygamous ways. On season 19's Tell All, host Sukanya Krishnan directly asked Cody and Robyn if he would take another wife. Interestingly, Robyn replied that she would be willing to consider it if Cody wanted to do so. Cody also spoke candidly about his marriage to Robyn, calling it a divine and higher love. Cody asserted he has never felt that with any of his other wives. In spite of getting unsavory criticism from fans, Cody asserts he hasn't done anything wrong and regrets nothing about how much he loves Robyn. But it's not working for viewers. Most of them think Cody is either deliberately stupid or just does not care why everyone is angry at him. Robyn and Cody had recently talked about growing their family. In the most recent Tell All installment, Cody shared a sit-down talk with host Sukanya Krishnan. She queried him directly if he has any intention of continuing the lifestyle of polygamy, remarriage, or more children. Cody answered by explaining her question, asking if she was suggesting adding to the family if his initial 3 wives remained in the picture. Suki told him no. She asked if he would remarry now. Cody explained that because he is already married to Robyn, he has no plans on ever marrying again. He said that his polygamy experience went in vain, and he does not want to endure it again. Cody said others discontinued the concept of plural marriage, and he has no desire to revisit it. He also stated that Robyn is in agreement with him over being heartbroken and having a sense of loss regarding how matters ended with his past marriages. Suki then posed the same question to Robyn, asking whether she would be willing for Cody to marry another woman and build a plural family again. Robyn acknowledged the question was hard for her and paused before responding. She explained that she would consent only if Cody made a true commitment and promised her that he really wanted to do it again. But she also conceded that Cody does not appear to want to marry anyone else, and there are no actual plans or vows at the moment. Robyn continued to acknowledge that the prospect of Cody marrying another wife frightens her. She informed us that she is scared by what happened before, and even joked that she would be willing only if God himself were to come and tell her something directly about resuming a plural family. Behind the scenes, the pair had also made a significant decision. Following the purchase of a new property, Cody and Robyn put their previous Flagstaff residence up for sale during the summer of 2024. But selling did more than bring potential buyers to the door. It generated buzz on the internet. Fans and online detectives happened upon the Zillow listing, and it soon became water cooler fodder, particularly among loyal Sister Wives viewers. Whereas the house itself was sprawling and well constructed, the interior decor caused a furore of raised eyebrows. The incongruous furnishings and bizarre layout designs were roundly panned on social media, especially on online forums that keep up with reality television celebrities. One user posted photos from the listing that showcased a number of bizarre design choices, which attracted even more debate. One of the most discussed works in Cody and Robyn's house was a large painting, openly hung in a communal living space. The painting, depicting 2 horses nuzzling under a radiant moon, was bright and eye-catching, but to most observers it seemed like an overt and too obvious symbol of the couple's relationship. Though it commanded attention, it also commanded mocking laughter and disapproval, with some labeling it ridiculously melodramatic and too literal. But that was just the start with the horse-themed artwork. The whole house design looked more fragmented than harmonious. Instead of creating the illusion of movement or deliberate contrast, the interior design was haphazard and disjointed. Each room had a totally different story to tell, with conflicting colors, incompatible styles, and incoherent themes. It was like trying to throw something put together quickly, but ended up having a house full of visual cacophony and disorientation. This chaos was particularly evident in the master bedroom. Internet critics immediately dubbed it the Royal Purple Chamber, and the nickname stuck. The bedding was available in every color of lilac and lavender, and the windows were hung with heavy velvet drapes in dark plum color. The furniture was medieval and castle-like in its design, an unorthodox decision that caused the room to feel like part of a stage set rather than current-day living quarters. The disarray carried over into the shared bathroom. Rather than being a relaxing room for everyday grooming, it seemed like a kind of frantic shrine. The mirror was marked up with red marker, where affirmations and prayer cards were scrawled in handwriting everywhere across it. The strange presentation was further compounded by a large, rock-like sink that numerous individuals online reported seemed out of place in a cartoon setting from the Stone Age. As if that were not enough, the bathroom also featured an all-consuming interest in giant crystals. Geodes and glittering minerals lined practically every available surface, making the room look like a crystal store or a messy museum display case rather than a private bathroom. In general, far from giving off a feeling of calm or personal style, the room gave off a jarring, overfull feel. How any of these conflicting design elements were ever combined, or more specifically thrown together, is a mystery to many who saw the listing. The bizarre decor options in Cody and Robyn's home stumped many viewers, but for long-standing viewers of the family, the issue went far beyond aesthetic preference. What upset people most was the eye-popping price tag of these bizarre decorations. An inside report on a website forum identified that the artwork alone cost millions of dollars. These weren't inexpensive, last-minute buys at local bazaars. They were bespoke, high-priced commissioned works that had cost a considerable amount of money to produce. This revelation struck a chord, particularly since other members of the family had openly struggled financially. While the Browns made their transition to Flagstaff, one of Cody's former wives was forced to reside temporarily in a tiny trailer. Another struggled to keep a heritage business afloat without any financial assistance. In comparison, Cody and Robyn were observed constructing a luxurious, finely furnished home, drawing a clear line between ease and poverty within the same household. The drama escalated further later that year when court papers were released involving a child support case filed by another family member. Frangel Lavish. These legal proceedings served to underscore what many of the fans had intuited, a glaring discrepancy in financial support within the family. While some members seemed to be struggling to secure staples, others were splurging on sparkling trinkets, fancy wall hangings, and showy, unwarranted decor. This stark contrast was not lost on anyone. Social media was abuzz with speculation, and some viewers wondered if the seemingly random positioning of these pricey art items, piled haphazardly as opposed to being properly displayed, was an intentional decision. There were even whispers that the odd configuration might have been done in an effort to deflect the true worth of the artwork, perhaps to keep financial information private from the public or from becoming vulnerable to legal review. Eventually, the house was not only peculiar looking, it started to symbolize greater problems within the family unit. Each awkwardly placed figurine, each over-the-top design element seemed to represent not only wealth, but a disconnect from the family's original values. For many, the house became a symbol of misplaced priorities, a visual representation of excess that was a far cry from the humble and struggling lives of other members of the family. Fans were left astounded and disappointed at the stark contrast between such lavish expenditure and the tangible signs of financial hardship faced by others in the same family circle. What started as a straightforward real estate listing soon became something much more telling. Beyond the flashy architecture and unusual interior selections, the house revealed deeper truths: inequality, emotional abandonment, and the effort to fill personal deficits with luxury and possessions. While the exterior was shiny and imposing, the interior told stories of loneliness, imbalance, and the fissures that formed beneath the surface. For years, viewers have been pulled into the intimate lives of a family that operated according to the tenets of spiritual plural marriage. The original intention of the show was to depict an alternative family arrangement, one that went against the grain and sought to normalize a taboo way of life, but things took a different turn with time. What initially began as a daring experiment in plural love eventually evolved into a drama characterized by shattered relationships, bruised egos, and changing allegiances. At the center of this unraveling is one man, who was once the spiritual leader of a multi-wife household, left now with only one partner by his side. The emotional aftermath of their shared past was exposed in a recent reunion-style episode, where open discussions revealed the nature of their relationship today and what could possibly be next. At the center of the discussion was a question. Would he ever go back to the existence he once knew? Would he resume marrying more wives and re-establish the principles of plural marriage? His answer and that of his sole remaining partner set off a new round of speculation. Formerly proud of caring for several households and secure in his ability to juggle, the man now replied with a tone characterized by profound emotional weariness. In the charged atmosphere where questions were blunt and frequently prickly, his responses conveyed more than mere disinterest, conveyed personal weariness. He explained that the notion of having another family was not merely undesirable, it was not possible. The travails of plural marriage, he conceded, had depleted him of all mental and emotional energy. What was once a righteous cause to maintain spiritual integrity and emotional equality among several partners had turned into a center of sorrow and disillusionment. He no longer considers the time as rewarding or successful when looking back. Rather, he views it as a failed fantasy, one that lost him not just his relationships, but also shattered the ideal he had so desperately attempted to keep up. Looking back on the failure of his polygamy marriages, he implied that their leaving devalued the lifestyle of its authentic meaning and purpose. While speaking with him was his present partner, sitting beside him, quiet but obviously attentive. When asked if she herself would ever go back to plural marriage, her response was guarded and complicated. She didn't rule it out entirely, but she established that there were a number of conditions that would need to be fulfilled before she would even think about it. Her answer contained a mix of uncertainty, fear, and residual sorrow. She acknowledged that the dissolution of their shared family arrangement, a dream she had once genuinely believed in, had left her emotionally disrupted. The idea of restoring that kind of life, even hypothetically, caused her to be visibly uneasy. She explained that any move to revert back to plural family living would demand full emotional faith and, even more so, a spiritual assurance from God. Jokingly, she said that she wouldn't even consider it unless someone directly from heaven spoke to her. But beneath the humor, her underlying terror was clear, highlighting just how much she was still shaken by the aftermath of their previous family experiment. Their forthright replies represented a stark departure from the way they had previously publicly represented themselves. Just a short time before, both had been observed standing assertively in support of their lifestyle, projecting their home as a beacon of religious coexistence and spiritual direction. And here they sat in a much more subdued environment, bathed in reminders of aspirations that never quite materialized. Their answers demonstrated unequivocally that this was not merely a matter of changed circumstances, it was a profound shift in attitude. The man spoke with awe of the woman who remained at his side, saying that their relationship was a sacred thing, a special one. He said that his association with her was different from all others he had known, transcended, full of meaning, and apart from all that had come before. But in so doing, he tore open old scars. Those who had previously been a part of his world, who had thought they were equals in his affections, were offended by what he said. For some of his former wives and relatives, this statement seemed to lessen their experiences and the connections they once had with him. His recent comments depict a man who has retold the history of his common past in an attempt to redefine his vision of love and commitment. This alteration has not escaped notice. Numerous individuals have accused this revisionism, particularly in light of the tangible emotional cost that it has imposed on his previous partners. Critics say that instead of admitting the hurt his exclusive attention and unmistakable partiality brought, he has instead gone out of his way to enhance his latest relationship by downgrading the others preceding it. Unintentional or not, the message is straightforward. This new relationship is better, not just in its background, but in the intensity of feeling he insists it has. While her tone was less forceful, his current girlfriend also seemed to concur, although with a more skeptical and realistic mindset. She looked unwilling to bring in any new dynamic to their relationship, probably realizing how tenuous their present bond really is. In her remarks, she stated that she's not ready to put the emotional investment necessary to be in a plural marriage again. She addressed not only as a wife, but also as one who had previously wholeheartedly believed in a vision that really disintegrated. Her reluctance, she said, wasn't jealousy, it was fear. Fear of reliving the same dysfunction, emotional turmoil and heartache that had destroyed the family unit they both had sought to maintain. Even as she talked calmly of trust and God's guidance, it was evident that wounds of the past persist. Her calm couldn't completely conceal the vulnerability of her words, a soft contrast to the assured image the couple tends to project. Some saw praise for her honesty as showing loyalty and maturity, that she was sticking by her husband despite her own issues. Others took it the opposite way, interpreting what she said as proof of inner turmoil. To others, her use of spiritual validation instead of making an explicit personal choice felt like a cop-out. It was like she felt that agreeing to polygamy once more could cause her emotional hurt, and she was subtly backing away from the risk. When placed in the context of their overall journey, their wariness is understandable. This couple once stood as public faces of an alternative lifestyle of togetherness, cooperation, and mutual belief. They espoused a vision of family with several partners and spiritual equality. But even then, the beginnings of cracks were appearing. Their public persona was always about making it work, about keeping a complicated family together under one common roof and one common faith. But now that all that's settled, what's left is a subdued one-bedroom relationship with no plans to extend it. There are no longer shared beds in multiple homes and no delusions about why things collapsed. Their earlier attempts to juggle a big family eventually broke down because of bias, trust issues, and unfulfilled promises. Putting one relationship above the others came at a great emotional price. Not just for the man who now says he has no strength left to attempt again, but also for the women left behind, discarded. His companion's alleged willingness to accept another woman does not sound like genuine interest. It seems more like a grudging nod to history. She doesn't talk in hope, but in sorrow. Her response isn't a wholehearted yes, but it's also not a definite no. It's guarded, conflicted, and colored by loss. If there ever was a genuine prospect of reconstructing a plural home, that dream appears to have lost all hold. With this final chapter, audiences finally know where the family is headed. Multiple marriages are over. With so many years spent fighting for togetherness through common values and religious beliefs, all that's left is a couple navigating the emotional detritus, searching for tranquility in simplicity, and possibly mending through monogamy. Their story serves as a reminder of how complicated and delicate love can become when it's shared among too many hearts. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more daily posts. Up next time.